Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Inner Views, where we listen to the stories of the people behind the businesses. And today I'm very excited to be chatting with An-maré Roelofse. An-maré, if you will tell us a little bit more about your business and why you started it.
Hello, Melanie, and thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. Melanie, I am a qualified teacher and lecturer for many, many years. And for many years, I taught learners and students, and the way that I've done it came from Dr. Kobus Neetling many, many years ago when he started out with the creativity and the creativity thinking and how to be more creative around problems. And I can just quickly show you, maybe you can see this little book came out in, I think, 1996 already. And it's the book is in Afrikaans, is ek dom of is ek slim? Of andersom, or am I clever or am I stupid? But in this book, I worked through it, and I at that point already changed my way of teaching to make sure that I reach the left brain, the right brain students, that I also taught my learners and my students in the 4 quadrants. And all I can say about that is maybe that's why I was such a successful lecturer. Because if you stand in front of a class, you see eyes, they see you. And when you see their eyes and you're busy with an L1 teaching where you give facts and you start with a new concept, you will see some eyes are following you, some eyes are with you, but there's a group not responding. And when you go over to the next quadrant where you start repeating the facts and you are making sure that you go deeper into the explanations, you see more students or more learners now interacting with you. And the same with the right hand side. Then you go over and you tell a story to bring the present and the past and the reality. And you will have another group of students, suddenly they are with you. And then we have the group that needs people around them, the group people, the people that say, don't worry, we're going to get this. And we are going to maybe go into a little group and let's see if we can try it out together. And when you teach in that method, all 4 quadrants, you reach all the children, all students in your class. And this is so important to me. You don't go above them. So, Melanie, in the beginning of this year, I started retired. So I'm not going to give away my age here. But I knew, because there's something that's very similar in my brain profile and yours, that I'm also an R1 person, and that I'm not going to retire and be at home all the time and do the same thing. And I started reading a lot in COVID, and there was just too many things that I wanted to do. But one day, Margriet Groenewald, I think both of us know her,
Hmm.
she had an advertisement of Kobus Neetling. I thought, my word, for so many years I'm following him, and for so many years I'm actually practicing his methods and the creativity around it. And I've done the practitioner's course, and it was for me like I couldn't get enough because I understood what was going on. It was actually so easy for me to do. But I spent hours and hours. Even my husband said, I've never seen you work so hard. But it was just, uh, it's like a sponge. Why didn't I know everything? And why didn't I go back to my little book more often?
Hmm.
And so that's how my business started. I'm doing brain profiles for people, for coaches, for teachers. The spectrum is actually endless that you can do. From little ones, you can already at the age of 4, with some guidance, decide whether they prefer a left or a right brain um, communication as parents talking to little ones.
Mm.
Yeah, so this is exactly what I do. Everything takes place online. And then after we've done a test, like in this case, I Zoom with my clients and then we discuss it and we unpack their own brain preference thinking.
Mm, mm. So, for those who are watching, I did Anne-Marie's little test this morning. And so, when I first saw the link for your test, I was like, oh no, I don't have time for this. And then I was like, no, no, now I'm curious. Let me go and see. And it was really not difficult to do. It was a breeze to just move through it. It's not
Yeah.
and it's not like an IQ test where you've got to get it right or wrong or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I found the insights that you shared were quite spot on for who I am. So thank you for that. I appreciate it very much.
Yes, Melanie, Dr. Kobus Neetling really studied this scientifically for many, many years. I think it's 30 years already. And with a professor at Torrance at the University of Georgia, they scientifically designed this 35 question, depending on what instrument you are actually doing. And it all it does, it takes you through and determine your own thinking preference.
Mm,
How, if you need to make a decision, if you need to where will you start? If you are nervous about something, where are you going to start making a decision?
mm,
um, if you need to buy a car, how will you do it?
mm,
Um, and when you go through those 30 questions, it brings out for us this wonderful 8-dimensional thinking brain. And 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 if I go through it with you, you will say, I can't believe it, but this is me.
mm, mm,
And once you understand, and once one is understanding yourself, it's so much better to communicate with other people.
mm,
Because I've found um, mothers and fathers, parents with their children, they sometimes label them.
mm,
I say, oh, this is the lazy one. Or my eldest son or my eldest daughter is always on time, doing what she needs to do, study, are prepared, but this next one or the middle one, um, confused, always late. There's nothing can happen with her one day or whatever. And it's all because her brain preferences are different.
mm,
And when people understand that every person in a family, in a group, you need to talk to differently, and they will get the message differently, um, then it makes so much more sense that you don't have a lot of friction,
mm,
because you understand me and I understand you. I
mm,
love to give um, uh, uh, my clients the following example. If you take Valentine's Day
mm,
and you've got a one person which is factual and he wants interest and he wants benefits, and that's just the language that they hear. And but maybe the wife is an R2. She would love to have Valentine's Day. She would love to have a present. So how do the two of them communicate with one another around Valentine's Day? So if um, the L1 is saying, no, I don't believe in Valentine's Day, it's just making money and a waste of money, it's everyday Valentine's Day, etc. But if the other half is saying, well, it's tomorrow Valentine's Day. If you invest in Valentine's Day,
mm,
you can have the benefits of Valentine's Day.
mm, mm,
Then the L1, the L1 can hear you. He wants to invest and he wants benefits.
Yes.
But if you just come up to him and say, "Oh, let's have Valentine's Day," he might shrug you off. And
Yes.
that is the wonderful of thing of understanding your brain profile.
Mm.
This morning when you said to me you made a spelling mistake while we were typing, and you said multitasking,
Mm.
and it went into, yeah, oh, maybe I'm going to see a right brain and an R1. And it's just so fascinating when once you've done it,
Yes.
and it comes out you're totally an R1, and that's your brain preferences. And yeah,
The,
I
the
really
whole
enjoy
right
it.
side is lit up and the left is almost dormant.
Yes, but the wonderful thing of that, we've got all 8 quadrants.
Mm,
All of us has got all 8. It's just not our preferred method of thinking.
mm,
Um, uh, I say it so often to people that because I am not a typical brand preference for a teacher,
mm,
um, you develop skills in your life.
mm,
Certain skills that if I need to do all the admin that is part of teaching, you developed a method of going through it early morning, 8 to 9, you deal with it. Um, but if you need to do a job all the time in your least preference quadrants,
mm,
it will be very tiring.
mm,
It might make you unhappy.
mm,
And if my children, if my 2 boys or anyone that knows me, I always say, I'm tired,
mm,
because I had to dig so deep into my other quadrants every day while teaching, and I was so passionate about it, and I wanted to do all 4 of the quadrants, and I every lesson was a like an experience in the class. But it's tiring because that's not my preferred method of thinking.
okay.
So if I was just training all the time, nice, interesting things, I would have been more at peace with myself. And that's why I really enjoy this. Every customer is different, every client, every profile. And that is what challenges me. So there's no status quo of going through the same thing all the time.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah.
So who do you recommend does these tests?
Well, if I say everybody, that sounds a bit maybe uh, over the edge. But every parent, every high school learner, every coach, every teacher, if we think of a teacher um, teaching mathematics in class, if she is going to say 1 plus 1 is 2, and if you don't listen now, um, I'm not going to repeat it. She might get 4 of her 30 students following her.
Mm,
The next group is the L2, so she's got to repeat it. She's got to do certain things. She's got to have a group. She's got to imagine, what can we do if we 1 plus 1? Maybe we can have 11 plus 11, to teach with a whole brain concept. That is
mm,
so important. So that you hear it so often that these learners in a classroom that say, that teacher is only for the clever people.
mm, mm,
Or that one can go on and on and on with the story. It's so bored in the class. So for me, teachers, it's crucial. Parents,
mm,
teenagers, people that need, students that need to take subjects.
mm, mm,
If the 2 of us with the right brain preference is so strong, we're going to be forced into mathematics and science
mm,
and engineering and processes and checking things, just because that's the only place where we're going to find work. Um, we are not going to enjoy our studies. We're not going to enjoy working in that field all the time. It
Mm,
doesn't say you cannot do it, because intelligence determines what you can do or not. But if it's not your preferred thing, it can really drain you.
mm,
um, Students that wants to go and study. So we can say, well, your brain preference is saying this. Let's test the skills that you need. Will you enjoy those skills? Doing them, put it together, and you can actually design a perfect job for yourself or a career by making sure that what you choose
mm,
is something that you're going to love and enjoy every day.
mm, mm. I must say that the whole profile has given me a new insight into myself as an entrepreneur. Um, I now
Yes.
understand, and also it's helped me with a little bit of forgiveness because I was always I've quite kind of beaten myself up because I resist admin work.
And now you don't have to. You don't have to, because you know now it's not your preferred thing. The
Yes.
admin needs to be done, and you're going to find a space and a spot, and you just do it. But it's not going to be what gives you joy.
Mm,
And
mm. It also explains why
and
I find it so tiring.
yes, yes, definitely, because you need to go deep into that level. You need to go deep there. You need to focus more than when you're in your right side, and you don't need any energy on your right hand side because it's just coming natural to you all the time.
Mm,
Um, Even if we look at what you do regarding, I saw you've got an upskilling of clothes, and it's dyeing, tie dyeing of clothes, and you're doing this interview. That is so typical of Imagineer. You want to do many things. You want to
mm,
look into the future, and you connect the bigger picture,
mm,
and this is who you are. And if I look at the opportunity that you give me here today, when it comes to your strong empathizer part, is that you like to connect people, you care about them, you bring them together, you share, you cheer them on. Come on, we can all make the success of the business. If I can, you can.
mm,
And now you can be at peace. This is who you are, and you will have always many things. You will always have more than one thing that will keep your mind busy, and
mm,
your energy and your creative juices needs to flow. The
mm.
moment that you're gonna do a tie dyeing course for the seventh, the eighth, the ninth time, and you're going to use the same colors and the same technique,
Mm.
Melanie is going to say, no more. Let's
Yes.
change the paint. Let's change the method.
Yes.
Um,
That does sound like me.
so yeah, that makes it so nice. Going through your own brain power, learn and know yourself.
Mm,
I've done another client the other day, and she was very emotional,
mm,
and things just got too much for her, and don't know whether she must be at this specific job that she's doing, crying all the time, and maybe a little bit of depression and so on. I said, why don't we do your brain profile, and then we look at where you are?
mm,
And it came out that she hasn't even got a strong R2 where the emotions play a big role. She's a L1, facts, figures, on the point person, but she started to believe that she's this miserable, emotional person.
mm,
And the next day, I got this beautiful voice message from her where she said, you know what? It only dawns on me this morning that I'm not that person that I was thinking I am,
mm,
and that I can take on the challenges, and that I can make better choices, and that I don't have to be that miserable, sad person because I I believe that.
Mm, mm, mm. Now, when I looked at my chart, like the
Mm.
right side's very well developed and the left side is not so lit up. Um, you know, as people, we have this perception that everything must work the same way.
Yeah,
Do you
maybe
do you
can
ever
I sorry,
sorry, do you ever
hello?
find people want their whole chart to look the same? And do you ever meet people where both sides are very well balanced?
Yes, yes, you do. There's two reasons for that. Sometimes a person got had a huge trauma. So the brain actually clears, and when they get to those questions, they cannot really decide um, what they would prefer to do. Just after a divorce, loss of a child, um, a big thing that happened to people. Then I would say don't do a brain assessment immediately. Give yourself time to heal, that you can think properly when you pack out those four questions. But if you are in a normal situation and you get that, it only means that your brain are actually comfortable working in all four quadrants.
Okay.
It's not that you'd average or um, it means that maybe your emotional intelligence is so high and you've learned to go into, you've developed skills for all the quadrants. Because it depends on what you are doing every day. Because
Yes.
I might be good at something but never had the opportunity to develop that skill.
Yes. Yes.
So I will not know. But the next person might work in all four of the quadrants all the time. And they develop the skills. And when they do a test, that is already how they see life and do it. And then they will fall quite in the middle with all four the quadrants. Mm.
Yes. That actually makes sense. I've spent my whole life working where it's comfortable.
Yes. Can I, would you mind if I just bring up your profile here that
Not at all.
our listeners can see how the profile look like, and then we see on the side your dominant and your the two dominant sides. But if I want, what I want to point out to them is they can see that there's another four quadrants. And whether you are doing the test, you have certain preferences in those quadrants as well. So
Okay.
if you go into your left quadrant, if you must go there for whatever reason, your analytical side is more than the realist. You will ask more questions and more questions and more questions, because if you're there, you're going to be more analytical about it. If you go down to your L2 side, which is the organizer, the stalwart, the preserver side, you 69% of the time you're going to rather organize yourself, because Melanie, when you're an R1, you can quickly create chaos around you because you can work, you can work in chaos. You can have many
I've just
things.
met you. You should know this stuff.
You have many things going around
Mm,
and keep on going, and then um, suddenly you were just so neatly and well prepared, and then things go crazy.
mm,
So if there's something that needs to be organized, it can actually be very organized.
mm,
So maybe you need to prepare food at night, and you don't want to look for knives and forks, and it will be very organized
mm,
so
mm.
that you can go in there and just do that job.
Yes.
So when so it depends it depends on what you do and where you are, but I really see that you enjoy it.
I'm not sure I like the accuracy of this test.
Well, if it's so accurate, I want to say please, everyone, come on board and let's do it.
It's wonderful. It's wonderfully insightful. Thank you.
Yeah,
I've learned a lot about myself through just one quick little test.
yes, yeah.
So you start with the assessment and then you do coaching afterwards, one-on-one coaching. How does it work?
Okay, yeah, Melanie, I give the code and the website where people, like I've done with you this morning, so they
Mm,
can just see the process. People do it for me, and then um, I generate this report.
mm,
And then I email you the report to read through, to discuss with yourself,
mm,
to internalize it, and to to come up, a day or two. You're still gonna keep on going back and back, and is this really me?
mm,
And especially people that thought they were different than they must first absorb all the information.
mm,
Once, um, usually like 3 or 4 days later, I do a Zoom meeting with them, and then I explain their whole profile for them. And then, in a coaching way, I try to help them because it depends on what the work they are doing. If it's a manager, or if it is a teacher, I can take the job description, and then we fit that profile for them and make it clear and help them to move to the quadrants that is best for them and works well for them.
mm,
Because you can have a manager with a fantastic, like a R1 and then an L2. So that he's a perfect manager, but every time when he comes up with a new idea, nobody wants to hear it because
mm,
he's in that R1 when he comes up with a bright idea. Think of a chef. A chef needs to follow all the details of the recipe,
mm,
but his challenge is to come up with a new dish or something wonderful now and then to bring feet into his business.
mm,
So we make it practical, and people can liaise with me. I love doing this. They can send me more emails, more questions. We can Zoom again. Some customers, clients, I've had 3 Zoom meetings already
mm.
because they want to know more, and they want the husband or the children. um, yes, so
A game the whole family can play.
yeah, the whole family is going through it, and this is very nice for me to do it. Very, very nice. I really enjoy it.
I can actually see how it would support family relationships. Um, I could
Absolutely.
even see how it could have been very supportive in my own family environment. We were 6 kids and all very different.
Yes.
Um,
And even if just mom and dad knew
mm,
um, that that one is not the crazy one and that one is not so good because it's actually not doing something new every day. It's just
mm,
pondering in with his life. But the way that you talk to them,
mm,
because the way that you bring them on board
mm,
for a little one with a left brain, we will say, let's pick up all 3 of your cards,
mm.
and then we put them in the box and we close it. And for the other one, we'll say, let's go and clean your room and make it nice and cozy and eat.
Mm,
We use different
mm,
language
mm.
for a left and right brain. And
Makes
that
sense.
is, yeah, that's how families should communicate.
And surely it would also make sense for teams, for managers to get their teams to do it, because then they'd have an insight into the team dynamics in a very different way.
We've got a 360 tool where we actually ask other people to evaluate you. Because
Okay.
sometimes I think I am the perfect R1.
Mm,
And when but that is when we have consensus. This is this team,
Mm,
we're a very good team, and we want to better.
mm,
And then we do the 360 rotation of the evaluation, and then we can see that when we want Anne-Marie to do something, we must give her a challenge. And when we want Melanie to do something, maybe we must give her a group that she can care about.
mm,
And
mm,
Kobus Neetling did an amazing experiment with sport. We took the Springbok rugby team as well as the sevens players, and by testing each one, they've got certain clues on during a match, where if they need to regroup, the guys in the R2 quadrant, that's the caring ones, they need to step up. If they need to score a try, they need to give it to the person who can see the gaps.
mm,
They need to give it to the R1 person, get the ball to the R1 in this group of us so
mm,
that we can see if we can score. If we just need to get through, we need to go to the basics and get the L1s going. All the L1s needs to do the same thing over and over in the L2s. So that is fascinating for me. So sport coaches and uh, can benefit from this tremendously.
mm. What I love about what you're saying is there seems to be a place for everyone.
Absolutely. If there is, if you take, I don't know what you know about rugby, Melanie, but
Not a lot.
not a lot. But every position is literally placed in one of the four quadrants. So if you're a good center and you need to be maybe an R1 person, and you're not, then they can move you maybe to a fullback, and then you will shine on that specific position.
Mm,
So there's so many. It's just a fascinating field, and anyone that really wants to change their thinking preferences, I say in my one slogan, I say redesign your thinking.
mm, mm.
They must come on board and do the assessment.
So it is possible. Is it possible then to change the way your brain works?
It's not possible to change your preferred thinking, but it is possible to go into the other quadrants with more confidence. So if I am the teacher and I am always just telling stories and stories, and I know that my students are failing, I can change by saying my L1s, I need to bring up the facts all the time. But
Mm,
it's work that you do on yourself.
mm,
It's work that you do on yourself. Because in a moment where the sports team needs to score, it is not going to be um, all the drills that we've practiced. It's that one aha moment
mm,
where that person is going to see the gap,
mm,
and he's going to take the gap, and then we're going to score and win the World Cup.
mm.
So that we're not going to change. I'm not going to make an L2 person get an aha moment and do it. He's not going to trust himself
Mm,
to
mm,
do it. But
mm.
the R1 is going to have that aha moment. He will see the gap and he will just do it.
Okay, got it. Got it. I have found this absolutely fascinating.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy to
Thank,
share it with you.
thank you so much for doing this interview with me because I feel you've added some real color to our my selection of interviews. I try to keep
Wonderful.
it interesting so that there's always different topics, and I'm pretty certain that a lot of people are going to enjoy this one. So thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure.
So, Anne-Marie, if anybody would like to get hold of you, where can they find you?
Okay, so first, I think the email that I've got is the quickest and the easiest way. Brain fibre, um, like all the little fibers in your brain, brainfibre@gmail.com. That
Okay.
is the,
And it's brain fiber, Fibre.
yeah, fiber,
Because they
B-R-E.
spell it differently in different countries.
Yes,
Okay.
Fibre.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Fantastic.
brainfibre.
At
And
gmail.com.
yeah, at gmail.com. And you can just think of all the fibers that we've got here in the networks with the internet speed. Now that brain must go so fast. And then I've got a Facebook page, Brain Fiber, under An-maré Roelofse.
Mhm.
And I've got a Instagram handle at Brain Fiber. And people, I keep on. I'm still very new at the new technology. I am not uh, so. So it's just not so easy yet for me.
Yes.
That first share, that first story, that first video to do, but I'm just doing it. And
Fantastic.
people can hook up and leave comments and ask questions, then I can help, because once you well, once I know the need, I can respond.
Okay, fantastic. I will add all of your links in the description when I upload this video
Thank you
for you.
so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing your enthusiasm and your knowledge with us today. I appreciate it so much.
Have a good day.